And we are back. Welcome to Chronicles of Power, a podcast dedicated to the world of power, where I review and break down the latest episode in the Powerverse. My name is Keemie, and I'll be your host as we break down the latest episode in Raising Kanan. Now, we will be talking about some things that happened in episode 402, but today we have been blessed with the presence of the beautiful and the talented and the tough. Erika Woods. She plays Stephanie Pop Henry on Raising Kanan. She's been there for the past 2 seasons, and we get the pleasure of speaking with her today. Everybody, please welcome Stephanie Erika Woods.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. If it sounds like I'm making mistakes, guys, it's because this is not the first time that we're doing this. So we
I'll get it. It's the sirens. Seriously, there's so many sirens in the background here. I love it. I love the New York sounds. So.
Yes, I know. I mean, listen, we have to do what we have to do to get it out to you guys so that we can speak to Miss Erika and we can be on and talk about all things pop and sex. Okay? So we do what we got to do. Now, let's go back a little bit. So prior to us being rudely interrupted, we were talking about Erika's love for trap music.
Oh my goodness.
What? And how she got her start in acting. So if you don't mind repeating, how did you foster a love for acting?
Well, honestly, I found my tribe in acting early on. I did a play in the 4th grade, got hooked. I was in Midsummer's Night's Dream. Was hooked. Loved. I felt like it was all of the misfits and just all of the eccentric people at that young age were in this group, and it was this community. And I just developed my love for it then. And as I got older, I did pageants here and there. I did community theater in Kansas City. And when I went to Howard, I studied acting under Al Freeman Jr., and I was just ultimately hooked. I mean, it takes just like one good mentor in your life. And Al Freeman Jr. for me was it. God rest his soul. He was the most professional, empathetic, confident. He builds confidence in people, and he was just a wonderful professor. And so yeah, and then I started doing commercials, and I'm like really started liking it, and then did a play, and the rest was history.
Yeah. So I love that you talk about mentorship. I think one of the hardest things to find just in any industry is, lashing on to someone who sees your vision and then they can kind of guide you in the right way. I think mentorship is extremely important for whatever it is that you're going to do. But I'm glad that you actually found one in someone outside of your family, and that someone that actually took a likeness to you and guided you in the right way. Now, you did mention that you did a lot of commercial work. Did you also so commercial, is it separate from like modeling, or is that acting?
It actually, I started with modeling. I was scouted for modeling. A little bit of a rewind. I was working for the NFL. I got a job there in corporate sponsorship, and thought maybe that's what I wanted to do. Journalism. People were always pushing me in front of the camera, but I enjoyed sports, and I enjoyed all aspects of media, behind and front, et cetera, et cetera. And so I got scouted for modeling, and did some campaigns like skincare, Old Navy, a few campaigns, I did a few campaigns.
It work?
And then, and if it's food, I booked it. Definitely. If it's food, I was, and then those led into commercials.
Okay.
I did a Plus White toothpaste campaign, and then they made that a commercial. And then I got a commercial agent, and that kind of led into more of a on-camera type of advertising.
What did you like more? Did you like commercial work, or did you prefer, full on acting, making self tapes and being casted for roles? Was that better or was it harder?
I like full on acting.
Ooh.
I like full on acting.
You said that with such fervor. Why?
Yeah, getting to be. I mean, commercial work is great. You're being compensated very nicely.
Mhm.
You're dealing with different types of people. So that's wonderful. So is acting the same. But with acting, I like that you get to challenge yourself in different mediums: theater, film, TV, and just a little bit more of a range for me.
Okay. Did you do theater work as well? I'm sorry because I didn't
I
see
did.
that I was
I
okay.
did. I did theater as a youth. I did theater for Young America, which is a really big deal in Kansas City, where I'm from. And I did a little bit of theater at Howard University, and then I did an off Broadway play here in New York.
What was the name of that one?
That again, it's called House on Fire.
Ooh.
Yeah, actually had some really good talent in it. Actually, Tobias Trevelyan. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a great actor. He was on One Life to Live, Chicago PD. Still a great friend to this day. He was in the play with me too, and it was both of our first plays. He was actually a polo model at the time, and I was doing modeling, so it was great. And we had mentors in that production too.
Ooh, that's dope. When I heard you say, so you're from Kansas City, there's somebody else who was in Ghosts from Kansas City.
Petey.
Yes,
Yeah, Petey. Shout out to Petey. Yeah, he's still friends with my cousin. Shout out to the popper. Yeah. So
I figured that you must have known him.
oh, all day. Yeah, that's fam. Yeah, the Kansas City's very small.
I figured. So I was like, let me
Yeah.
see if you guys know each other. Yeah, he was really dope too. He just like you, like I spoke to him prior online. I found out he was gonna be in Ghost before they even announced it. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
I found
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's really good. The character. A lot of people didn't really like what he was doing on screen, but I mean, he's a good actor. He's a good sport about everything. But anyway, so in being a good actor, I would guess that you are taking different roles and you play different types of characters. Is pop completely out of your norm for characters that you're normally casted for?
Completely, but so close to my heart. Like people see me. It's so weird how people see me. And I'm often cast as the good girl or the cop or the lawyer. And I'm like, I have so many different sides to me and so many different layers. So it was really, really, really fun to get to explore Pop. She was just probably the most fun I've ever had.
Ooh, okay. So right now we're only up to episode 2 that has aired thus far, but without spoiling, right? How in depth do we get into Pop's gangster? Do we get to see Pop move from behind the table? Because so far, all of your scenes are.
You don't even know if I have legs. You know what I mean? Well, a little, like I know y'all are curious. Like, does Pop have feet? Like, yeah, no, you definitely get to peel back some layers, which I think is so fun too. I love those characters that you don't really know much about. And you get to find out more about Pop. And I think you see more of her femininity,
Ooh.
And I like that. And I a little bit more of her vulnerability.
Excuse me. Thank
She's a
you.
woman, she's a girl. She's, at heart, a little soft and pink in my mind. So I
Mm.
think, yeah, I think you get to see a little bit of that.
Okay. So we get to see her be a little more soft, but what about the ruthless side to her too?
Yeah, she's stone cold. Yeah, you get to. I'm pretty sure.
So then here's the question that I'll take from that then. We normally only see Pop or we see you play Pop, whereas she's just normally at the side of her husband. And they work in tandem together and they're normally on one accord. Is there ever a time where she comes head to head with Rock, but without her husband? Like, if they actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that because I don't want any spoilers. If she does come head to head with Rock, who do you think would win in that battle?
I think that Pop would win. The
Ooh.
reason being, Pop is very in control of her emotions.
Mm.
And that to me is such a strong weapon. Me as Erika, I'm still trying to accomplish that as a human being. And I think that the only person in the world that I know that has done that was my mother. My mother was so in control of her emotions. And I think that that is such an important trait, especially in the business that my husband Snaps and I are in. We have seen, and also she doesn't have her home in order. So we have seen different levels of vulnerability in Raq, and at my age, and I'm a little bit older than her. So I definitely think I could outwit with her mentally. She might have the muscle. Um and but I think, we have muscle too. And
You're not slouches.
yeah, I think that Pop would win.
That's interesting. And it's
Yeah,
good that
with
you
all
bring
due
up.
respect. With all due respect.
No, I completely get what you're saying.
Like, I have
They are
all due respect.
characters.
She's no slouch. She's no slouch. She's just younger, the youth, the sense of youth.
Yeah, and then you bring up some good things. Because later on, I was gonna ask you about this, but I don't want it to slip my mind. So, Rock not having her house in order, do you think that that's part of the downfall of whatever it is that they're doing or whatever it is that she's trying to accomplish? Because to me, from the outside looking in, right, for everyone else who's watching, it kind of seems like she has no emotions. Like she kind of buries everything, especially what we saw last episode, right? She's able to keep working, go through terminating a pregnancy, try to reconcile with her son, try to get work back in order, and she just comes back outside like nothing. So when I hear you say, things on the home front aren't good for her, is that like kind of the crack in the armor a bit for the downfall of whatever it is that they're doing?
100%. If you can't trust the soldiers and the people around you, I mean, who can you trust? She can't even trust her own son that she birthed. Her brother's a drunk. Her other brothers, off doing side jobs. I mean, my house is in order. It's me and my husband, and what I've in my mind envisioned my uncles and brothers all behind me is the muscle. Those aren't like guys from the block. Those are our family members.
Okay.
And so I think that is I think that's a really, really important piece of Rock. She does appear to have it all together. And in many ways she does. I mean, she's gorgeous, she's tough, but in a lot of ways, I mean, if your own child doesn't respect you, he's coming to do business with us, known sworn enemies. That can't be good.
Huh. That was my next question, about the dynamic between Snap and Pops and Rock. Were they, because me, I'm trying to figure out who are the players in the game. Who is the who is her nemesis this season? Is it just Unique, or are Pops and Snap, are they just someone in the background that has to deal with Kanan, or or excuse me, or are they adversaries to Rock by proxy of Kanan now?
That's a really good question. I think that Snaps and I have separate views on Rock. I
Okay.
actually feel a maternal instinct toward her. I admire her. I think in a lot of ways, I may be envious of her. I don't have children. She's this solo entity. What I mean? I've always been up under my husband. And she had the guts to come in here. But and the flip of that, I feel very disrespected. We both have egos. There's a lot of egos involved. And I think that she knows that's our weakness.
Mm,
And so I think knowing that you have somebody, ego clashing and emotions, it makes up for some real interesting uh scenarios that could take place. And I believe Pop is a very slow boil, and I think that could be very, very deadly. Those people that you don't know what's going on, but their things just rise to the top. I
yeah,
think that, yeah, yeah, the ones you don't really know much about, she just seems to be there. It's that slow boil.
yeah, and that annoys people. Like we've been getting a lot of feedback, like, "Oh my gosh, when is this gonna happen? When is that?" I'm like, "Hold on." They're telling a story,
You know
guys.
what's gonna happen. Now y'all know it's gonna happen.
I mean,
I get it. I
we
get it.
yeah, we know what the track record is. Just let them build up a little bit. It's coming, it's coming. So then, prior to Raising Kanan, right? Because we know you mostly from this, right? What are some other things that you played in besides playing pop?
Okay, so besides playing pop, I recently did FBI Most Wanted, which I loved. Best show ever. I'm sad they got canceled. I was hoping to come back.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was very sad. I was very sad. I've done Blue Bloods. I've done FBI.
I always play a cop.
Oh, I'm telling you, literally a blacklist, a cop. I'm like, is a cop. I had the pleasure of being in Burning Cane, which is a movie that I actually did with Wendell, that went to win Tribeca.
Ooh,
And
nice.
yeah, we played.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you, members of the Baptist Church. So everything's a little close to home except the cops, but mainly law enforcement.
So, so in those roles, right? Are those more? The reason why I keep saying we don't know. Well, when you brought up, we don't know if you have legs or not, because one of the questions that I had was like, how do you deal with it if the scenes are really emotional or if they're physically demanding? Like, how do you even prep yourself for something like that? Or because maybe I'm trying to like poke for information a little bit. Like, do we get some physicality out of pop later on? Do we get some
Neither confirm nor deny. I wish I could tell you I like you a lot, but I will say you get to see different sides of her, that I think you're going to be like, wow, that's okay. Right. So that I will say, yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take
Yeah.
that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Okay. Alrighty. Now, so we learned about some of the other things that you've done, and obviously we know this, but I do want to know some more things about you because I see a bright future. I see you everywhere. But is there any other projects or genres that you would like to work in outside of
Oh man. Yes. I would love to do a romantic comedy.
yes, so you
Yeah,
have me cop anymore.
yeah, I love to make people laugh, and I love that genre. I love romantic comedies. And so I would love to do one that I
You right?
really like. You know what? No, but I would like to try it. Maybe who knows? Who knows?
Yes,
But no, I did not write. Yes. Yeah, I produced before, but I've never written.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, well, maybe you can make your own romantic comedy, and we can see what happens from there.
100%, but yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do one.
Now, you've been doing this for a little bit, and so and you've done different factions of it. So whether it was commercial work, you were a model, and now you're in front of the screen on a series, and you've been in movies too. So you've had different touches, we'll say. Is there any favorite outside? Is there anything favorited by you outside of being pop? Like, what was another role that you liked playing?
I really liked playing I liked playing Amanda Marsh on Do No Harm. That was like my first TV gig.
Uh-huh.
And we shot in Philadelphia, in Liberty City. And I loved shooting on location there because it reminded me a lot of New York. And I was an EMT. I was head of EMT, and we're rocking by going to lunch. And there was literally a shooting. There was an incident, just a few feet from where we're shooting. And so they come and get me. They're like, could you please come right immediately? Like, they see us walking. I'm like, I'm not an EMT. You know what I mean? I'm not who you think. So I just, that was just a great experience. I mean, it wasn't for that, but as an actor, that they thought, that was just a wonderful, wonderful set. I worked with Felicia Rashad. She's also my sorority sister. So that was a lot of fun. That was a good show. It didn't last long. It should have. It's wonderful, wonderful talent. But yeah, I would say that was a favorite role. And they would serve us cheesesteaks for lunch. It was fantastic.
Lucky.
I love Philly.
Eat carbs.
Love it. Yeah, man. Yeah, Do No Harm was great. Yeah.
All right.
Loved it.
So, all right. So you got to work in Philly. You didn't do no harm. You have all of this experience under your belt. So I guess we have to talk about the thing that everybody talks about with you, right? You know, how is it working with your real life partner as your husband in a TV series? Is that weird at all?
Not at all.
Ooh.
It's actually yeah, it's actually really cool. And he calms me, he makes me laugh. I think he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh my God, he's one of my top 5 favorites. And so it's just an honor to get to work with him every day. And he's so professional. So that really is amazing to watch and learn from. And he is so giving. He doesn't mind discussing the work with me, or if I want to make an adjustment, or if I can, want to see if he wants to run something, if he has a thought, a backstory. He's always willing to do that with me, because if you're playing someone's wife, you have to have a backstory. You have to kind of know that. And not all actors really want to take the time to do that. Some actors are just like, okay, you do that on your own, girl. I'm gonna get there and we're gonna do this. And that's fine too, because everybody has their own process. But it's nice when somebody else kind of shares the same process with you, and it's someone that you really, really respect and love. So yeah, it's absolutely wonderful.
You know, that's cool that you bring that up because you actually mentioned a lot about what you thought the background of Snap and Pops would be, like, whereas you detailed, like, you know, in Brock's family, she has muscle, but we have muscle too, and I'm like, "Hey, we didn't even know that." Like, we see people in the background, but you attributed it to it being family and people you
Those are
know.
every one of my uncles, girl. Every one of my uncles that my real life uncle. Those are my uncles in my head.
Yeah,
Man, that's
see?
different. Blood's a little different than hired help.
So, in terms of process, right? No, you're right, and if she had I think one of the reasons why she's still up and running is because she actually has her brothers at her side. Whatever she may think of them,
Absolutely.
it definitely blood worked better than hired help. But, for your process in working out how Snaps and Pop come to be, when you were given the script and you had to go through the things that Snap and Pops are capable of and their lines and, you know, whatever it looks like on the front camera that we see, when you make the background for them, what details did you add about their character or that you had to like kind of map out in order to bring her to life?
I always do a private moment. I start with that. Where does she come from? I establish, like, does she have her parents living? So I didn't think that Pop's parents were with her. Like, you lose a mom, like I have, it changes you as a person. So I thought that that was something that Pop and I could share. And then I didn't think her father would be around because I didn't think he would let her be with someone like a Snaps. And then I didn't think she had siblings. She just didn't seem like she had any room to share anything with anyone except Snaps. And then I start working kind of I work sometimes I work from the outside in, but from the inside out. But with this show, I work from the outside in because our wardrobe is just such a great, collaboration with us too. She collaborator Sige White
Yay.
will find out what we're gonna wear. Oh man, she is like she's the best.
Let me tell you, your one loves Sage the way how I love Sage.
Oh, I am obsessed. That's my Libra sister. I love her, and she really gives you the freedom to kind of, mesh. And wardrobe was so important because Pop is so meticulous with everything, her nails, her jewelry, her hair. She's a creature of habit. Yeah, she keeps the same nail appointment, the same, she does the wig, she does the hair. So that's a process. So I'm like, okay, what's she wearing today? This kind of like, is she going to do this today? Is she going to take care of this business today? You know, creature of habit. So then, I look at that, and then I establish like what kind of inner traumas is she dealing with, because then that would kind of answer to why she does the things she does in her life. Like, why would you sell heroin, or uh, why would she do any of the things that she does
But what did you come up
in
with?
life?
Why is she selling heroin? Why is she well, I think I understand what you're saying, why she has latched on to her husband in this way because she's pretty much orphaned in a sense, and
Oh, 100% post around.
yeah, and then now she has to latch on to someone, and obviously she needs protection, and whatever he's doing, she's
Use.
gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of childhood trauma. Lots of childhood trauma for her. Yeah. All she knows is, you know, um, is snaps and trying to manipulate men,
Mm,
you know?
okay.
And I don't think she knows much love from women. That can change you as a person too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Woo, you made me think about something just now, but I have to think about how to ask it so that it doesn't doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like I'm trying to get you to spoil anything. But let me rework it in my head a little bit, and then I'll come back.
Absolutely. No
Okay.
problem.
Alrighty. So then here's what I'll do in terms of this show. So last night we got to see what happens when you have to explain the game to someone who hasn't been in it for as long as you two have, and even outshining Rock a little bit. And at one point she even puts her hands up and just like, hey, I had nothing to do with this. So one of the questions that I had prior to watching this episode, I was like, well, from back in episode 10 of season 3 was, did Snaps and Pop even know that Kanan was trying to double cross Ronnie? And I think we got the answer to that. I think you guys didn't know.
We did not know.
Oh,
If I remember correctly, we did not know.
okay.
We did not know.
They didn't know. So then, if they didn't know, they don't care what Kanan has. Excuse me. They don't care what Kanan has going on after this. Kanan still has to pay back whatever he owes, right? And but now
Yeah,
they're
we
looking
care about
for.
nobody but ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody but ourselves.
So then, what's the plan for Kanan going forward? How is he going?
He needs to, sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. You can answer because you can just tell me what the plan is.
Please
So
finish your question. So sorry.
I think the thing that I'm worried about with him, I thought that he was going to make things right by paying you guys back, but I don't think he understood. And I think this is what you were trying to explain to him, that the investment is not just breaking even. The investment is also to gain a profit. And where is the cutoff at that? When is the profit enough for him? Or is there ever going to be enough?
I think when you in our eyes, I think you become a pawn in the game the moment you go against your own family.
Oh, okay.
I think that is something that we share with people like Stefano, because they take family very seriously. And once we realize you don't take family seriously, we realize Kanan has a lot to learn. And not only are we going to teach him, but we're going to probably take advantage of that. And the fact that you don't respect us because you come in here. Yeah. So we just figure he has a lot to learn. And he's not that, we feel he's vulnerable. We think he's smart, but we think he's vulnerable. And that's never good in our business, to show any vulnerability, any animosity between families. We're like, okay, we can divide and conquer that.
Hmm.
And your bill was much.
And you owe us money. Okay. All right. All righty. Let's get off of Kanan for a little bit, because right now, Raising Kanan is starting to look like a psychological thriller with bringing back Unique, right? I I am curious. Do we ever get to see Snaps and Pop interact with Unique?
I don't know if I can answer that.
Okay. Uh,
I'm so sorry.
So, see,
I'm so sorry.
fine. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I
'Cause
wish.
I don't want to spoil it, but I am curious. So then how about we phrase it this way, right? We knew that there was a working relationship with Ronnie Mathis, right?
Okay.
They obviously knew who Unique was. What would
Keemie, I hate to keep secrets, but you know I love you. I'm already like, no, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Hold on, wait. Hear me out for a second. What would a working relationship look like between Snaps and Pops? With
Amazing fashion. Amazing fashion. Pop would be so happy.
custom suits, leather galore.
It's a big rich town. Okay, I don't know. Hey, look. I can't. It's Friday too. Don't get me in trouble. No, ma'am.
You're gonna make me try.
No, ma'am.
Let me try to look.
I'm like this.
Got another one. Hold on. Wait.
I'm like, because I'm not. I don't.
All right, let's try.
Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be great though? If they met, that would be great.
Wait. I am so curious because
Me too.
because he's a loner right now. So what you said to me before was, right? They see vulnerability. They see vulnerability in Kanan. They see vulnerability within the Thomas family and the organization that they are trying to build. And I wonder how would they interact with someone, right? Hypothetically speaking, who doesn't necessarily have an army behind him, who is pretty much a solo Siberian cat in the wild, and and they don't know that he is they don't know that he is alive. And how would they deal with someone like this, because he's on a warpath right now, right?
Right.
Right. They have perched.
Yeah.
Right? So Snaps and Pops, they have a very comfortable life. People, because they have built such a reputation where they don't necessarily have to flex their muscle too much, because people just fall in line with them. And I wonder, right? For someone who has just had a traumatic brain injury, how exactly are they going to navigate that? Because we don't
know, man. We're all vets. That would be very interesting. I think that would be some amazing fireworks to see.
Okay. Now, okay, let's try one more time. Let me see. Okay.
can.
Wait, okay. Listen, okay, so listen to this one.
Okay.
You don't have to tell me. All right.
Even my own family, okay? My brothers are like, sis, can you play?
No. I don't want, listen, I love the thrill of watching it. I just like putting out, I like putting out scenarios, right? Like, what would happen if, right?
Respect.
Right. What would happen if? So they dealt with Ronnie, and they dealt with him pretty decisively, right? Because Ronnie was a nutcase and they weren't even scared of him. But do you think in his current state that Snaps and Pops would have that same sort of strong arm with the current iteration that we have of Unique?
No. Unique's on solo. No, he by who he got? He by himself. No, ma'am. No disrespect. No, I don't think I really don't think we scared. That could be our downfall. That could be our advantage. But no. I don't think, I don't think we're scared. We have a lot of people in our corner.
Okay. All right. I feel like that's a good answer for me, because I just want to know how we're dealing with the threats, the possible threats that may be outside or that may be looming, right? Because Raq is no slouch, but you have an end with that, right? Because you have an end through Kanan. I wonder how they're going to resolve this, because these are just my speculations. You don't have to answer this, and this is what some of the predictions that I've made. Obviously, and you don't have to confirm. So, guys, this is just me talking. She's not going to confirm nor deny. All of this is going to go, like, this is all going to blow up, because there are too many secrets happening right now. It's too many things going on. Kanan has to pay back money that he doesn't even have an exact amount on yet, right?
It's going to change daily, probably.
And they know that they can exploit him in this way because he doesn't know the game. And Raq kind of is like, I don't know how much I should get involved with this, because she's about to have her own host of troubles, right? Because she didn't know that Marvin was doing side work for Stefano, and that is going to be an issue. I can already tell. And because one of the things that we learned about Marvin from the very first season was he never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. And he is consistently trying to, again, this is where this word comes up again. He is fighting between his own ego and falling in line with the power structure that his sister has set up, right? So that's going to be a problem. Then,
I mean,
you know, you don't have to say anything. I'm just laying it all out for people, just setting up the season for them. Because we're only in episode 2. So this is why I'm kind of speculating with you, right?
good, 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 really good.
So then now, right, we have Juan or Juan, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Juan.
No, you had it, Quan.
I had, right? He is going to be an issue, right? Because Brock wants to take his place. Now, if she wants to take his place, she doesn't really have, I don't know if she has the structural or the infrastructure rather to make that happen. At least for right now. She thinks she does. But because what Pops is saying, Pops already realized like, hey, you got a problem with your kid. Your brother is a drunk. Your other one thinks that he's the one that should be in charge because he's older than you, right? So we're having an imbalance here. And then we have Stefano, who is big on family. You should be able to trust your son. You should be able to trust your business partners. And she really can't trust anybody because they don't fall in line the way how she needs them, even though they do it in the end. She has to like rough them up a little bit in order for them to fall in line. Right?
Leadership starts from the top.
There we go. Yes. Come on.
I mean, you know, like when you're in the game, blowing up is not a thing to assume you can do. You can't outrun the players, you know, or you know, we just have to see how it unfolds. You know, loyalty is very, very, very important. It just says a lot to me that there's been a lot of people around her that are no longer around her. You know, we still have all of our same people around us. And again, you don't know much about us. You know, I feel like the Thomas family's business is a little bit out in the street. So that's never good when people know how they can move on you because they know your business. You know, things that have happened and, you know, you got shot up and, you know, people shot at you and people know where you live.
At times, they know where you live.
Yeah, you've never seen our house. You know, you know where our place of business is. But I think all of that, it just says a lot about our character. So maybe who knows? Maybe we'll peel back some of those layers and we'll be the vulnerable ones. You never know.
Do you want that for your characters though? Do you want to do you, do you want them to extend it whereas they're not like in a working facility? Obviously, we want you to continue to be on the show in season 5. I believe season 5 is the last season. I don't even know if they fully.
I don't know any of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know if they've announced fully yet, but here's what we're speculating in the Power world, right? We're speculating that season 5 is the last season and we can say that they have already shot season 5 because that's public information. They shot that already. But we don't know what's coming after that. We were told that there was a show called Origins. We don't know if it's greenlit. I've heard Sasha Penn talk about it a little bit because I met with Sasha last year February. So we talked about it a little bit, but at that time the news had just come out. So we don't know where it's going. But if you had your choice, would you want the Snaps and Pop story to continue? Do you want them to continue to peel back layers? Do you think it's necessary for the story that Snaps and Pop, that we continue to learn more about them?
Absolutely. I would do anything to work with Sasha Penn for as long as I live. So anything that could keep me working with him or in the Power universe, I would honor that. I would love to see a backstory with Snaps and Pop. I think that would be amazing to see like what their backstory is, how they got to where they are, who they knew. I would love that. And so Origins seems fitting, you know.
Yeah, so Origins,
That was
by me.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
so here's what we know so far, right? I'll give you what they've told us because I think Deadline reported it that a lot of people have been complaining because they wanted to see little Tommy and little Ghost in this Raising Kanan. So I think that they wanted to follow those characters in Origins, but we don't know. We don't.
Cute. That'd be cute. Okay.
Isn't that cute?
I love Tommy. That'd be great. That would be nice. Good backstory.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that they can incorporate a lot of the other characters that we've met along the way too, which is why I asked about Snaps and Pop. You know,
Well, like I'm here.
I'm here. I'm ready, willing, and able.
Oh yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So the other thing is that the last part of the speculations that I was making, and I'll end it after that, is that I think Rock doesn't know what she's up against. And it's sad that so many other people are able to kind of see her mistakes and she isn't really taking ownership of them, or she doesn't really know how to navigate them at this point. And I laughed, or I chuckled to myself when he was like, yeah, she doesn't, we see it, she just doesn't, and we have the upper hand here, and it's like, oh my god, that's not gonna be good for her.
At least they spends with the youth, you know. But hey, I mean, we were the stupid ones coming out of retirement. I mean, we had this great life, you know. And my husband wanted to get back into, you know, selling drugs. So we, you know, we're not that bright, in my opinion. But I do believe we are underestimated. You know, we haven't gotten to where we are by just being loud and not making good moves. You know, we were fully ready to retire, and that takes a lot. So yeah, I think she underestimates us.
Do we find
She underestimated her own son.
I mean, yeah. And everyone else.
I mean, yeah, I was kind of, you know, like Juliana. I'm like, what? You know, that was great.
No, but Juliana, that was so weird. That was so weird because one day we see her scared behind a cash register, and then the next day she's a big mob boss. Like, come on.
Such a good actress. She's so that was probably one of my favorites. Yeah, Juliana, rest in peace.
Not your favorite? Okay.
I mean, her and Grantham, her and Ronnie, it's just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, you know, I wanted to tell you this. I know you don't remember, but I'm only going to tell you what happened. So, at the Raising Kanan premiere for season 3, as I was meeting you, Grantham Coleman was standing beside Wendell, and he was like staring. So I'm saying hi to you. And then I look over and I say, I'm like, what the hell? He was so serious. Like, just,
He is such a run up. He's awesome. Well, he's probably admiring your beauty. He's probably admiring your beauty.
or he was looking at something else. But when I looked over, and I was just like, what?
He was doing the Ronnie best here, like
The Ronnie. But the thing is, he had on such a nice suit, no glasses or anything.
oh
Like a red velvet jacket, and I looked
Oh,
over and I was like,
no, he is so he's a very serious actor and one of the nicest guys ever. He's so different than his character. He nailed it. He nailed
nailed it. He was very, very serious, and I was just like, F.
and to see that in person.
Yeah, I like, to be fair, like, I laugh a lot and I joke around a lot, but like when I'm meeting people, they're like, "Hi, how are you? I do this, and this is this person, that's that person." And then when I turned around, and he was just sitting there like this, like a security guard. I was like, because he was like behind the rope. I was like, "What's happening?"
I think that's probably the funniest thing I heard all day.
I got so I was like, "Oh." I had to straighten up my back a little bit. I was like, "Hi."
Oh, that is so fun.
Whatever the case is, like, we said our hellos and our goodbyes, and once I saw him, I was like, all right, I think it's enough for me in this area. Let me go mingle some more.
No, he's honestly the kindest guy. Just very serious.
I don't
Very
but he was like this. Like, okay, I'm ready. Okay.
It was a business event.
Listen, just to set the stage for everybody so they don't think that I'm over exaggerating, there were people rapping on stage. They had a whole freestyle battle going on. There was Connie Diamond, all types of people. There was Lola Brooke, all types of people were there, right? And they're on stage. And just imagine, he's not moving his shoulders, nodding his head to any of this. He just.
Wait a minute. That was Lola Brooke?
No, so Lola Brooke was there, but she wasn't on stage. She
I love her. I was like, I miss
yeah. Yeah, she had on a silver dress.
so many people. People are like, did you know such and such was there? I was like, I had no idea. What?
That night I had a good time because I got to meet Mario Van Peebles and I nearly lost my mind, but I kept my cool. I kept my cool.
Now he is the bomb. He's the bomb.
So alrighty. So
no, absolutely. Absolutely.
yes. Okay. So here's what I'll ask you, right? Because we talk about all of the gangsters and all of that stuff. And I know that you have some background on some of the other gangsters from the other shows. So here's what I'll say. I want you to choose the best person to finish the job in the choices that I'm going to give you, right?
Ooh, okay. I like this.
You like it? Okay. So we'll start off light.
Okay.
And light is relatively speaking. So
Okay.
between Marvin and Lou, right?
Okay.
Who Marvin? Okay.
This is not a drunk. Sorry, Lou. Shout out to Lou though. You can't be drinking and go, I got to know that you'll be sober.
Right.
That's the only reason.
And his heart is in other places. But, right? Okay. Next one. Ghost or Tommy?
Tommy.
Really?
Joseph's my friend. I'm going with Tommy. And he's from Chicago. He'll finish the job. I'm going with Tommy.
Okay. This one may be a little tricky because these are like more intricate characters. So these were different plugs. So one was Lobos and the other was Milan. Do you remember who those two people are?
I do, and I think I'm gonna go with Milan.
Yeah, he was crazy. All right,
I gotta give you Cartel. Yeah, Cartel. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go on with. I'm gonna go with Milan.
Okay. Yeah, they all no. Milan was a part of the Russians, and Lobos was the cartel.
Okay, so Milan. Oh no, wait, the other one was Serbians. Was it the Serbians?
Serbians, right?
Okay, I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah. That's what you went with.
Yeah, I know some Serbians. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Serbians.
Okay. All right. Two more. All right. Monet or Noma?
Okay, I have to go with Noma because I know her. Yeah, no, I know her personally. So that's just my friend. So I love Mary, but I don't know Mary personally. No. I have to go with Noma just because that's Caroline. I'm going with Noma.
Yes, and she's dope too. I love her. Okay.
The short haircut, everything. She's fantastic.
Okay, last one, because I'm not gonna put snaps and pops in this because you've already shown me your bias throughout all of this, right? Now, Ronnie or Unique?
Ronnie. And the only reason I'm saying Ronnie is because Ronnie doesn't have emotions. Unique does. He cares about his kid, Pernisha, Rock. So those people could be used against him, like we have your child or something like that. Ronnie don't care about nobody but Ronnie, and that's deadly in itself.
Considering all that we've seen happen, you still say Ronnie?
100. Well, yeah, I mean, I think he had Ronnie went hard though. Ronnie went hard, He did it with bare hands. Like he's coming in with a bat and like, yeah. Absolutely. Ronnie got a lot of heart.
I feel like Unique held his own, but okay, I'll take it.
He damn sure did. With fashion, with a gold chain that didn't move. I mean, he
did not move. Was there the entire scene. He didn't even get a rip in his elbows.
He's an amazing actor. Okay. An overall kind human being. But yeah, no, I gotta go with Ronnie.
Yeah, I loved your choices and I loved talking to you. This has been a blast. You can come back anytime and chop it up with me. I love getting to know you. I love talking to you about this stuff and I love your insight on the characters and about the show in general. So
thank you. I love being here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, when you see her out in the streets, wave hello. Don't run up on her because you may get done up. So, but definitely thank her in these IG streets and tell people where they can find you. What's your social handle?
I'm at E.Woodz, E Woods.
Yes. So
Holla.
thank you, Miss Wood. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Pleasure speaking to you. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for having me.
Too. No problem.